How often do you visit your personal physician?
Annually, maybe once a year.
Once a year?
Yeah.
For
physical checkup.
general checkup?
Yeah.
General physical checkup.
I would say that would mean you're pretty healthy, if I would say that.
Till now, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't had any issues. It's been more recent that we have tried to keep it more annual.
Okay.
Before it was almost none to, if something came up, just go to the doctor as need be.
Why was that? What changed?
We just got more health conscious, depending on, taking care of what we ate, and the fact that, we were trying to get more conscious on the nutrition, the kind of food we were eating and all that, and then the company was providing us with free physical once a year.
Okay.
And that kind of was more of an incentive to go and get it all checked out.
Okay.
And it was a big push to make sure, everything is fine and there is nothing that's wrong.
I see.
So it's, but at the same time, I think what does happen is once you're done with that annual physical, you do have to remember to schedule the next one, because they don't immediately schedule the one for the next year. They give you a sticker that says call us in 6 months to schedule your thing for the next 6 months.
Next 6 months.
So
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. How about yourself,
Yeah,
Sushma?
I think obviously we're all from the same country, and culturally we're not used to preventative healthcare.
Right.
So we're pretty used to just going to the doctor on an as-need basis.
Right.
And so when you come to the US, it's something new to you, but you get used to it. I think as a woman, it's a little bit easier because we are sort of forced to go every year for an exam. It's highly recommended. For men, I think I haven't gotten my husband to go for an annual exam, like mandatorily.
Right.
He has other health issues, so he ends up going to the doctor, but for an annual exam, I don't know, one for one.
What you said, Susmita, what I wanted to pick up was, you said, you become lately more health conscious. One is incentive. Has anything in your life changed in terms of, I don't know if marriage has, you were single at some point in time and over time you've kind of got married, so has anything
I think the one big thing that has changed or made us more proactive towards this is that my husband's family, they have hereditary diabetes.
I see.
So the fact that we wanted to be more preventive, even though he doesn't have it, we wanted to make sure that there was no chance of that getting into it. My father-in-law has had diabetes for the past 35 years or so. It's been controlled. He has kept it under control for the past 35 years with medicines and everything, and yet at times it comes to a point where we are worried, what if it's really hereditary and he gets it too. So that kind of got us moved towards, okay, let's get an annual checkup just to make sure that there is nothing that is at the tipping point. And also the fact that as Indians we tend to eat a lot more fatty food. So we end up getting...
But as Indians, we don't usually eat a lot of meat. We usually eat a lot of vegetables.
Right, we do eat a lot of vegetables.
Which I think we have I would say, healthier food diet in the sense that we tend to eat at home more. We don't usually go out a lot. We eat more vegetables in our diet. We have a more balanced diet.
We have agreed. But the only caveat in that is we eat more oil, more fried food. So that kind of contributes towards the cholesterol side of it too. So diabetes and cholesterol are the two big ones, which is what kept us towards, okay, let's keep it under control as much as we can.
So I think your concern about your father-in-law has definitely
pushed us towards both of us.
So it's a hereditary thing.
It's hereditary.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
Right. So that has definitely pushed us towards making sure my husband doesn't has it yet, or is not going to get it anytime very soon. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, right? We genetically, I think we're all prone. I think diabetes and blood pressure issues, obviously, cholesterol are pretty common. I mean, my mom has been a diabetic for the last 35 years, and I lead a fairly active lifestyle, so I want to believe that just by working out and staying active and being fairly watchful. I'm not overly cautious about what I eat or calories. I like to stay active so that I can eat whatever I want. But somewhere in the back of my head, I know that genetically, I do have a good chance of getting diabetes because my mom's diabetic, blood pressure and cholesterol because my dad has those. So we obviously, I think one good thing that coming to the US does to you is just become more aware of your body and of your health. So when you move with the people around here at work or just other friends circle, I think when they start talking about, you know, oh, I have a health checkup, oh, I have a dental checkup. I mean, it's not just health, even dental, right? How often do we visit the dentist? We never visit the dentist unless you're like throbbing in pain. So here, it's like, oh, you gotta go at least once a year, or you gotta go twice a year. Just get it clean. There's some value to it.
Right, I see.
And I'll just add to it that my mom has high blood pressure, and that kind of bothers me because it wasn't hereditary to her until her late 50s, which is when my grandma also got it. So that kind of makes me think that it is probably more genetic than I thought it was. So that also kind of pushes us towards eating healthy and, you know, making sure we get some checkups done.
It's sounding like, just from the initial discussion with you guys, it's sounding like over time, when you came here or when you were in the 20s, early 20s, you're like, hey, you know, who cared about this? It didn't matter. But over time, partly moving to the US, partly because of marriage and family histories and all that, we're starting to become a little bit more sensitive towards our health.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons that's driving you. Touch wood, you're only going to the position only once, which is great, but you want to keep in check.
Right.
Let me take this to the next level. The question is, how do you currently communicate with your doctor? Communicate maybe in a regular situation and in a let's start with a regular situation first. How do you, like, when I say regular situation means you're going for a regular physical. How do you do that? What do you do?
I just pick up the phone and get an appointment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Close to, like, I'll ask for something like, you know, do you have something next month? I wouldn't really do it 6 months in advance.
Right.
What prompts you? Like, hey, I need to go for a physical checkup. Is that the first part we discussed? Like, oh, I need to do it. It's been a year.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. That
It's
I
been a year.
haven't done it this year. Yeah.
Okay.
I need to get it
You
done.
put it on your calendar.
I try to sometimes if I especially have the sticky notice in front of me to make me remember, but at times it just slipped. And you know, it's at the end of the year, it's like, oh, I haven't done it yet, so let me just get it as fast as I can. And the availability is another big issue, is they're not available.
Right.
They're not available immediately at all. So if you call, you might get an appointment maybe end of August or early September.
I see.
So that becomes another big issue. But yeah, calling has just been pretty much the only
So
thing.
you directly call and set
Directly
it up.
call and set it up. Yeah.
Now, when you go there, what's the process you guys follow? You go there and you guys do what?
I mean, once the first time you go there, you have to fill the form, but afterwards it's pretty simple.
You just update insurance information.
Yeah, just update. They ask for updated insurance if you have updated it, and you just
You fill out a form with allergies and everything?
Not every time, right? The first time you go, you have to fill that out, but subsequent times you don't.
I see.
I think they do ask you though, right? Because you could have.
Has anything changed?
Yeah, because you could have, like, you're right. I mean, the big form, you probably turn that in when you're a new patient, enrolling or whatever. But then I think subsequent years, you know, maybe they don't do it when you're waiting, but once you go in and the nurse is like checking some vitals or whatever before the doctor does your physical, I think they do ask, like, oh, so any new allergies, or maybe it depends from clinic to clinic or whatever, but I think it's something that they cover pretty well.
Sometimes it's like a form they give me. They hand me a form.
Yeah.
Fill it out.
Fill it out, right.
So you're not experienced.
Only the first time.
Well, the first
Only the
time,
first
yes,
time, not
definitely.
every time.
Not every time,
Okay,
no.
okay.
First time has always been, you know, here is the personal information, your insurance information, and then second page is usually, you know, the HIPAA practice and all of that. Make sure you read that. Third page is, you know, what allergies you have, what do you have any illness in the family, are you allergic to latex or this, that, etc., etc., just to make sure.
But the one thing that needs to, I think, is important to point out is that once, like, let's say I go for my physical checkup, right? I have to fill this long form. Now, that's done for that hospital or for that particular clinician, right? That if I go visit him next, I don't have to fill that form.
Right.
But let's say I have a vision problem, or I have a dental problem, I have some other problem, I have to go to a different hospital or different physician. I have to still
Fill it
fill
all
the
over
same form.
again.
Or you just go to a specialist, for example.
something
Your
like
that.
physician is a
Yeah.
small guy. But if you have a particular issue and you go to a specialist and they are in a different hospital or a different health system, then you obviously have to fill out the whole thing.
I see. No, that's a good point.
So actually, a very simple example, when I was getting my orthodontics, I was getting consultation at different doctors. Every single doctor place I would go, I had to fill up their forms. Doesn't matter if I was just going to go get a free consultation, but they had me fill up my personal information, all the details, everything. And they were just going to look at it and probably take an exam or not. But those were overhead. Those were definitely time overheads to sit and fill up forms that were not going to be useful at all. Because I was probably not going to come back to them.
I see. Okay. So, what I'd like to kind of ask you guys is also, what do you dislike about the current? Is there anything, if you don't dislike, that's fine, but is there anything you dislike about the current process of setting up appointments with your physician?
Well, obviously in today's world, I mean, it's digital, right? It'd be nice if you can send an email, and maybe you could, like everybody has an email address, but how responsive are they? I mean, I love immediate response. So, kind of like an online shopping experience where you can actually chat. So if you want to book an appointment, because you send an email saying, oh, I'm available these days, I'd like an appointment for a physical, and then they'll come back and say, oh, those days are not available, and then you'd start going back and forth, assuming they respond, through the email. I don't know when the email gets picked up. It depends on that particular hospital or the clinic. But if there is like a facility where there's somebody online, because if it's picking up the phone, I cannot do it at work. But I could chat and multitask at work. Like I have my work window open, I have a chat window open, and I can set up my appointments. I think that would be helpful. And particularly because most of these places are open only business hours between 9 and 5. So I'm at work 9 and 5.
That's again a good point, is the fact that if you have an untimely emergency, it's a totally different facility. And I'm pretty sure you go there, you have to fill up forms.
Correct.
How do you find that untimely facility?
Like urgent care, it's very difficult to find. It really is very difficult to find. I mean, honestly, right now,
you call your health nurse. And
I don't know what companies do. You can call probably from company to company.
Insurance companies will help you find those things.
Then you have to call the insurance
Another
company.
thing to the point that how you want to make the process more efficient. Another thing that they can do is they can have a public calendar for the doctor.
Yeah.
You go online, like you book a flight, right? You book a flight. The way you book a flight is you tell your date, and you will see if the seats are available. Similarly, what they can do is make the calendar of the doctor public. Show that okay, from 9 to 5, which slots are open for the doctor. You go click, and then you can reserve.
Basically, like sending an invite for a meeting.
Yeah. So you click on that, and that doctor, and then you reserve the time of the doctor. And then the request goes automatically to that hospital. So I think that will be a more efficient process. It's more transparent, and you can be more efficient in.
Okay. Let me go towards lab results a little bit. Lab results. Have you guys, without disclosing the privacy here, I'm sure. What sort of have you guys had lab results in the past?
Yeah. I've had.
Where do you keep your records right now? Where are your
paper
records?
records? Yeah.
Just paper records.
One of the things that I struggle with, I don't even know if you get lab results all the time.
Depends on what kind of lab results you're getting.
What
Like
you get done?
If you get, say for example, if you get blood test, just a generic blood test, they will give you. They will probably email it to you in like 2 or 3 weeks time frame, and they will tell you this is what we found, this is the negative, positive, yada yada yada, and then you get to keep it.
And that may not be the case all the time.
It might not be the case all the time, right?
Because I don't know, and I've actually had to go and pay for test results once.
Oh.
Because the moment you say you want, they can show it to you, but if you say you want a copy,
Then
they actually charge you for it. So I guess I've always been a little confused or hazy about what they are very good about picking up the phone and saying your results are in. This is what is okay. This is what's not okay, or you're totally fine. This that. But in terms of actually mailing results, I don't know that I've really received results that often.
But the one thing I guess to that point is there have been doctors at times have also said that if you don't hear anything from us, then it's a good thing. So if we do call you, then there's something to worry about. So the point to that is how long are you gonna wait? Is 2 weeks enough time? Is 3 weeks enough time? Am I supposed to just forget about it if I don't hear anything, or can I just say
no news is
like
good
no
news.
news is good news? So there are those. So I guess it depends from facility to facility as to what kind of lab results, who's giving what. But we have always, when we have done blood tests, it's always been a paper report, and we have to always manually keep it, file it and keep it year to year. So
one thing that I think the hospital that I go to, Pro Healthcare, they have an electronic system, and you can register in that electronic system, and then you can all your reports and everything.
And you can watch it online.
So
Yeah.
do you do that right now?
I don't do that.
Have you taken a lab in the last?
I do it every year.
So like you do lab results, but you haven't taken
I
access.
haven't looked at it online. I haven't.
Okay. So the access is there, but you haven't looked at it. Is
Yes.
that fair?
Yeah.
Because I don't have a lot of records to go through,
Yeah.
that's why I don't.
That's fair. One of the questions on that front is couple of things. When you said you know about this, Pro Healthcare has this. I'm going to ask you, Sushma and Susmita, do you have the similar online access? Or
Yeah,
you
like
don't?
I go to Aurora, and I know Aurora does.
Does.
And
Okay.
I know I got some work done.
I didn't know
recently.
about this at Pro Healthcare. I also go to Pro Healthcare,
But you
and
did
I
not
didn't
know.
know.
Okay. How did you get to know?
That's when I registered. The receptionist told me that you can go
Okay.
online and register.
So it was told by them. It
Yeah.
was told by them.
And the reason I didn't register was not because I didn't want to look at my record. I think what happened was that the code that they give only is valid for the next 24 to 48 hours after the visit.
I see.
So I didn't have time in the next 24 48 hours. I thought, okay, maybe next week I'll do it. And the next week when I tried to do it, the code's not valid. So I have to,
This
I
is
don't know, I had to
create
call
an
back
ID.
again. Yeah, I had to call back again to get the code. So it's more, I don't know why they need a code. I mean, I can register at the same time. I can give my,
SSN or something.
yeah, I
Or
can
not
give my,
SSN.
I can create my own login password, and the hospital can just create, based on my SSO, they can create, I don't know why
SSN.
SSN,
Social Security
yeah.
number.
Is there any concern about privacy? Like you guys are talking about, is there any concern about privacy? Because now these days, right, data is getting, the more data gets on the web. I'm just trying to gauge.
I
you
think
guys
the
on
only
that.
privacy I would be concerned about is the fact that if I was using any particular type of medication,
Mhm.
and say my email address or my mailing address was in that list, and it got into the hands of these providers,
Mhm.
what if they started mailing me unwantedly about possible other medications that are available?
I see.
I might not necessarily be interested in it. I might not even be taking those medications anymore.
Mm.
But such kind of solicitation, the unwanted kind of solicitation, is what generally bothers me quite a bit. Is the use of phone number, email address, mailing address, whatever, to want you to try something different or new just because they thought once upon a time you used something similar. That might be my biggest privacy concern.
Sushma, privacy.
I mean, I think there is a price we have to pay for the convenience. And in today's world, I mean, everybody gets hacked. From universities to small companies to big companies, everybody gets hacked. And, you know, if the hospital gets hacked, they just have to, or wherever your medical records are going to be, whether you log in and watch your medical records or not, there's a good chance that a hacker could just hack your medical records sitting in a database somewhere, you know, in the hospital server. So I don't think I'd be too concerned about that. I mean, I'm all up for convenience, and if I can get my information at the click of a button without having to pick up the phone and call someone and find out, you know, I'm all up for it. It's a one time create your ID, and then you can access all your history, and you think you know everything, but you might have forgotten about that one visit 3 years ago. But it's all, you know, it's all documented in a one-stop shop.
And Devashish, in no particular order, I'm just.
Yeah, I think I agree with Sushma. I don't care much about privacy because nowadays, like, we have our we register in so many different websites. So I don't know. I think it's fine. I mean, I don't care much about privacy.
Mm.
We register in so many different websites. 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 Like we have Amazon.com, we have blah blah blah.com. There are so many other websites where we go purchase and we give our credit card information, we give our so many things, right? So, and I think it's fine. I mean, if I get the convenience, I'm fine with sharing my credentials with them, with the hospitals.
Okay. I'm going to pick on a couple of things here. Now you went, you were told by the hospital, right? What if you saw this on a billboard, and if some company told you that some company, random company, I'm not even a random company, some company that has an EMR system, they say that would you like access your records? Would you go access that? I don't know, I'm just going to pick Sushma. Would you access?
Yeah, I mean, it's free. I wouldn't think twice. If it's a paid service, I'd think about, is it really value for money? Again, it goes back to, I am generally a healthy person. I don't visit the doctor, too many times in a year. So I can kind of keep check of how many times I visited, what I did and all that. But I think it would be much better for someone like my husband, who has more medications and who goes to the doctor more often. And instead of maintaining an Excel spreadsheet, of your own record, if you have it in a one-stop shop, why not?
Okay, but this is a company who could, a company that, you may or may not have heard, but, this company advertises you and you would be willing to. How about you?
I don't know, if it's just via billboard, I may not just do it myself. If I'm recommended by the physician or some more established place, I would do it, but not if I just see it on the billboard. Right. Go register and we will
access your records or something. I'm making you smarter, but you're saying you wouldn't, is what you're saying.
I would hesitate to do it, yeah. Unless I from word of mouth I hear that.
Okay.
That it's a good place and maybe this is what you should do.
Word of mouth from friends,
yeah,
family,
families,
wife,
yeah.
or who?
Yeah. Friends, family, wife, yeah.
Okay. How about you,
I think I would probably be a little bit more different because I'm perennially curious. So just so to know what information somebody else has about me, I would probably, if it's free, great. If not, if it's a nominal price, maybe I'll pay for it. But that's only if it's like, say, annual. If you're paying annually $20 or $40 to have your records, maybe I'll pay for it. But the only reason is because I want to make sure my information there is correct, and that there is no erroneous records in there, and that what I know is what is true. So that curiosity in me to make sure that whatever information is there is the right one, it will make me go and see it.
So you're talking almost like a credit card.
Pretty much, yeah. For me, it's very much like a transaction.
Like a credit score.
So like a credit score. I just want to make sure. Because in my mind, the one thing that comes is, what if tomorrow there is someone hacks in? Like she was mentioning, someone hacks and somebody changes something. Maybe I have a prescription, somebody changes a prescription or the strength of it, and I am not aware of it. The doctor thinks that's what is true. That could lead to a medical emergency, right? So that to me is more like a credit card, but I want to make sure I know exactly what is going on in my health, whether it's good, bad, nothing's changing, doesn't matter.
I see.
So it's more of a proactive check for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we'll have to do our due diligence. Like anything on a billboard is not, it's not fully credit worthy, but sometimes they're
Who would you trust? So Sushma, I'm going to pick you. Who
I trust my judgment. So if I see something on a billboard, I think I'll keep it in my mind or note it down. I'll obviously go back to my desk and do due diligence. And so like, either if I ask around my friends, have you guys heard of this, that? If not, then we have Google. I'll look for what the people on the internet are saying about it. And there's so much information about it. If the company is so new that there's nothing on the internet about it, then I'd be a little skeptical. But if it has people saying good or bad things, then that's going to weigh into what I'm going to do with that information.
What if your physician tells you? Would you?
Like he said, I mean, if a physician tells you, it's highly recommended. Okay. And I think in the US, physicians don't generally tend to push their own agenda. Right. And they're very careful about what they're promoting. So if they're saying something, there must be some reason to it. So I'll definitely, that is a factor when I'm going to, either buy the subscription or decide to use it. But I think I'll personally do my due diligence and see why my information even is with them in the first place, with HIPAA and all that.
Right.
How can my information even be with them?
Right. Right.
So what is the hospital doing with these guys? What are the different hospitals doing with these guys to either sell my data, or have I allowed them to give my data to this company who suddenly now has all my data?
Because when we sign the forms, then the hospitals, right, there is thing that can they share the information with the third party company. And usually I always do, I don't allow them to share it with the third party company.
Now in this case, you got to realize. I just want to make sure it's clear that this is the system that hospital use to communicate within physicians.
Okay.
So this is the EMR, like for example, Internet Explorer or Oracle or it's a database that a company has. Now having that physicians have access, and you're also having access to the same database.
Okay.
But the thing is, would you go ahead and say, like, you signed up based on your somebody who told you to go, at the receptions, who asked you to do that. Now, last few questions is, Sushma, you said that your husband, you go for medical, he has a medical, he goes to the doctor quite often than you do. Who sets up that appointment?
He sets it up himself.
Okay.
He sets it up himself and he cancels it himself.
Okay.
But
So-
he does have, I think the hospital that he uses is a little bit more digital, and I think he can set it up through the internet, and I think he even checks his records, etc. He communicates with the doctor through the internet,
Okay.
and it's pretty efficient.
Okay. What about Devashish? Who sets it up? Do you set it up, or
Yeah, I
does
set
your
it
wife
up.
set it up?
Call the, yeah.
You were the one who sets it
Yeah.
up. Okay. And Sushmita, you set it up on your own?
I set it up on my own,
Okay. So
yeah.
it looks like you're sort of independently setting up, and you're not
Right.
responsible for setting up.
No,
this.
no, we try to kind of remind each other if we have forgotten, or just in case slipped of mind or whatever. But yeah, we just set up
I see.
independently.
And okay, I see. Okay. No, this is definitely helpful in terms of helping me understand. Last few things. Hopefully, I have all the questions answered here. If there was an application, that would let you access your records, what would you want to have access to? How would you access it? And what are the things that you would like to have as a feature there?
Sure. I think for me the first thing would be a search feature to be able to search the providers
Okay.
within the insurance. So first you put in whatever insurance you're carrying, and then based on that, what are the providers, and then you
Okay.
narrow it down to the provider that you go to.
Okay.
Physician, ophthalmologist, whoever you're going to, and then
Okay.
based on that, you log in and whatever you do, and then you can see your records, past years, present years, wherever you are.
Okay. Okay.
So being able to have that wide search, I think, is very important. Not just limited to a few select hospitals or a few select providers. Have that network and database.
I see. Would you like to have access to your parents' medical records as well?
I mean, if they were living here and they were
Whether
having
they're here
medical
or not, I'm
care.
just kind of talking about, let's say they were here.
But I mean, if I'm their primary caregiver, then I definitely like to know
Oh,
exactly
yeah.
what they're saying.
I guess, yeah.
Just for my own assurance. Just
yeah.
make sure that.
Like, would you like to be like, hey, here's, your medication, what you've taken, here's what the medications you
Right.
take, what about
Yeah,
this one?
only because then I feel sometimes our parents don't question doctors too much.
Right,
They just
right. They do
accept
believe-
whatever
exactly, yeah.
is pushed to them. Whereas we might know a little bit more, and they're like, okay, why is the dosage, if he's saying your diabetes is under control, why is the dosage not coming down over time? Why is it flat with the advances in medical, with insulin, the new insulin that's come up, why can't my dosage come down? Or
Right.
why can't you recommend a new kind of syringe or something like that, so that I can, it's more to challenge, like why can't I use the best technology and medicine that's available for my parents
I
more than
see.
anything else.
More than anything else. Yeah. And do your parents, medication wise, how do they keep track of what medication they need to take? How do they, is it like
They're
boxes?
just used to it. I mean,
Memory, yeah.
yeah, it's
Memory.
just memory, I think. Like, it's different. My mom and dad are, like, every day, all the different medicines are just, like,
Same.
stacked up in the table.
Yeah.
Right.
Every day they'll just, like, open and tear and eat a pill that they have to at that time. But
Okay.
in my in-laws' house, my father-in-law is the pharmacist, and he, like, every day he, like put it in separate, bowls.
Hmm.
Like, what he needs to eat, what my mother-in-law needs to eat, what my sister-in-law needs to eat, etc. So
I see.
it's different in both the houses.
So are you the one who keeps? If they were here, would you be keeping track on this stuff?
I think it depends because they've been doing it for so long.
Right, okay.
So I don't know that they'll allow me to step in and do it. You know, I've tried to change things by saying, do you want a pill box? They just have their own way.
They have their own way of doing it.
And they
Yeah,
do that.
on both sides of my parents, they usually just have a big Ziploc or a box of pills, and they know exactly which one to find where.
I see.
So.
Okay. Now I think from my side, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to